Welcome to the Accelerated Investor Podcast with Josh Cantwell. If you're looking to retire early with forever passive income, you're in the right place. This podcast is the go-to destination for real estate investors, both active and passive, and multifamily apartment investors, both new, intermediate, and advanced. Now, sit back, listen, learn, and accelerate your business, your life, and your investing with the Accelerated Investor Podcast.
So, hey, listen, guys, welcome back. Man, I hope you're having a great day. Today, what I really want to talk about is what makes you happy. Okay. What makes you happy? A lot of you are setting goals for 2022. You're thinking about, where do you want to go? Man, I've been flipping single family homes for a long time, and I'm making the pivot into commercial real estate because I want to buy apartments, or, I own 200 units. I want to own 500 units. Some of you are maybe young and just getting started, and you think you want to own it all. You want to own the whole world. You want to be successful at everything you do. And that's unbelievable. And so a couple of things I want you to think about as you set your goals for 2022 is ultimately really what those goals are. The goals are either going to feel authentic or not, because they either make you happy or they don't. Like I used to have a goal. I want to buy 1,000 single family rentals, or I want to flip 50 houses a year. I want to make $1 million. I want to buy a Ferrari, all these different kind of things, none of which really felt like juicy, good. None of them really got me up in the morning. None of them really made me think like, man, I can't wait to get to work, or I can't wait to get up the next day. And so there's all this talk in the world today about, what makes you happy. And there's a lot of judgment. There's so much judgment going on right now from so many people. I mean, sometimes it feels like the United States is on the brink of civil war, left versus right, liberal versus conservative, red versus blue. There's so much judgment going on politically. There's so much judgment going on with COVID and how people are treating COVID and COVID vaccines. There's so much judgment about religious freedom, financial freedom. There's a lot of judgment around, are people straight? Are they gay? Are they black? Are they white? White supremacy, Black Lives Matter, like all this stuff is going on. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that people are judging other people, right? And I think what really matters here is this conversation is that as you set your goals for 2022 and you really think about them, you really need to make sure that the goals that you're setting are not somebody else's goals. Okay. You need to make sure that the goals that you're setting are not your partner's goals, your wife's goals, your husband's goals. They're not your mom's goals. They're not, maybe your parents are, still paying for your college education, or your grandparents are passing money back to you, or you have a business that you're about to inherit from a parent, and they have certain expectations of you in order to give you those things. And the question is, are you doing things that are outside of your nature? Are you doing things outside of your happiness and your fulfillment in order to qualify for those, giveaways, those freebies? So as I think about like the world we're in today and all the judgment that's happening and so many people who are unhappy, instead of really reflecting on their own happiness and what's going to make them happy, instead, what they're doing is judging what everybody else is doing wrong. And people don't know what they really want. Right. And so when I think and reflect back over this past year about what really made me happy was like deep conversations with my wife, right? Like where we talked about our family goals. We talked about what was important to us from a faith, financial, family, friends, fitness, the 5 F's, when we talked about deep conversation about what really makes her happy, what makes me happy, like that makes me happy to talk, to have conversations with her. So as I set my goals for 2022, and my financial goals are really there in order to allow me to have more deep conversation and connection with my wife. When I think about what makes me happy, I think about coaching my kids, and sometimes I've gone way overboard. I was coaching 4 sports at one time. I was coaching club volleyball and 3 basketballs. Like for each of my kids playing basketball, I was coaching 4 sports at once. Or in the fall, I was coaching 2 football leagues for my son and my daughters in volleyball, all at the same time. And I absolutely loved it. I was so much in my joy. I was so much in my wheelhouse, trying to have a positive influence on these young kids. Because when I'm at sports, like I don't just have the opportunity to talk to them and teach them sports. I have the opportunity to teach them about entrepreneurship, about leadership, about being disciplined, about being successful. And being successful comes from having great habits. Like this all made me happy. So my goals for 2022 revolve around financially, that giving me the freedom to coach my kids. Because when I'm around my kids and I'm around their friends, it gives me the opportunity to have an impact on them, which makes me happy, makes me feel important. Okay. Another thing that's really important to me when I look at my goals for 22, again, one of the things that makes me happy is being available to my mom. Okay. My dad passed away about 14 months ago. My dad was the biggest mentor and had the largest impact on my life, both from a religious perspective, a married perspective, a financial perspective. He was an entrepreneur. He built companies. He did it with grace, and he was conservative. He was a Christian. He took risks. All these things were important to me. So now that he's gone, I feel an overwhelming sense of responsibility to make sure that my mom is taken care of and I can be available to my mom. And because I feel like I owe that to my dad. Okay. And so when my mom says, "Hey, Josh, I've got an eye surgery for cataracts. I need to go to the eye surgeon," I took her. When my mom says, "Hey, the cataract surgery didn't go right, and this little piece of the cataract cracked off and it fell back into my retina. I've got to go back in and I've got to have a retina surgery. And it's, the appointment is Tuesday at 1:00 in the afternoon. That's more important to me than just going and looking at the next building or having the next meeting." Right. Ultimately, for me, what makes me happy is freedom of choice. If I really boil this down, it's for me to be able to choose every day, every minute, where I go and what I do and how I do it. I have been an entrepreneur now for nearly 22 years, 23 years, and I refuse to have anybody else dictate where I can go, when I can go there, how much I can spend, where I can spend it, how much time I can spend with my kids, the number of days I can take off. I am unemployable. If I had to work for somebody else and go to a job or make sales calls or work from a cubicle or fill out reports, I would go mad. I would probably be literally in an insane asylum because I would feel like such a caged animal. And that fear of that drives me to be and have entrepreneurial freedom and freedom of choice. So as I look at my goals for 2022, they revolve around this creation of happiness and fulfillment, to have deeper conversations with my wife, to be available to coach my kids, to be available to support my mother for both financially and time-wise, right? And to ultimately have the freedom of choice to do whatever the hell I want, whenever the hell I want to do it. That to me is most important. And financially, investing in commercial real estate, buying properties, buying apartments is the method, it's the mechanism that allows me to have freedom of choice. The freedom of choice allows me to do all these other things.
Are you ready to automate and explode your real estate investing? We're searching for extremely motivated individuals who are sick and tired of wasting time and want to finally see real results from their real estate investing business. We're searching for investors looking to get to the next level and become a bigger, better version of themselves while being a more successful real estate investing entrepreneur. Apply for mentoring and coaching at joshcantwellcoaching.com/podcast. That's joshcantwellcoaching.com/podcast.
And so what's right for me is not necessarily right for you. What's right for me is not right for everybody. I don't care. Like when everyone's looking at all these judgments, and there's, especially with social media, it's so easy to see the political judgment, the COVID judgment, the religious judgment, the financial judgment. And of course, things on social media always seem better than they really are, right? Everyone's willing to speak up on social media about all these issues and look judgmental. But if you sit down with somebody face to face, they're not going to say half the shit that they would say behind an email or behind a social media post. I've definitely said things in social media posts and emails that if I really thought about it, I would never say to somebody's face. Right? I've got too much respect for people. But when you hide behind social media and you hide behind emails, right, there's this, it's so easy to just press the go button, to press the send button, to press the publish button and feel good about yourself. When you're like, man, I don't have the guts. I don't have the balls to say that to somebody's face. There's all this judgment happening. I'm certainly guilty of it. I'm not perfect. Okay. But again, for me, the ability to have freedom of choice, when I look at my goals for this year, it's all about using commercial real estate, using that as a tool to give me the freedom of choice to do what I want. You see, there is no right and wrong. There's only what's right for you. Okay. There's only what's right for you. And that's where you need to get really clear when you look at your goals for this year and you look at what makes you happy. Okay. What's right for you? Now, of course, if you're married, you have a spouse, you have a partner, like it's important that you guys be on the same page. That's why I enjoy these deep conversations with my wife, because I want her to support me. I want to support her. I want us to be on the same page because I need her to buy into that. I need her approval. Because you know what it's like when you have a commitment to somebody else. If you're on the different pages, it can drive you mad because now I no longer have freedom of choice because I need her to buy in. I need her approval. And you probably have someone like that in your life, right? So talking through like what's right for you, that's all that matters. And if you get really clear on what's right for you and what makes you happy, and you fulfill those goals, whether somebody else perceive those goals to be huge, huge goals, or whether those goals are to be very, very small in somebody else's eyes, makes no freaking difference. It makes no difference what somebody else thinks or feels. It's only what makes you happy, what feels right by you. Right? If they're your goals and they're your life and you want to accomplish them, right? So again, for me, like being available to go to the gym, being available to have a lot of energy, like I'm deathly afraid because my father died with Parkinson's. My grandmother had Alzheimer's. I have 3 other aunts and uncles who've died with Alzheimer's. I'm deathly afraid of my cognitive decline. I'm 45 years old. And so even today, I was at the eye doctor this morning and I started thinking, and he offered this cognitive test. I'm like, absolutely, I want to take it. And thank God I scored way above average. I'm like, whew, right? But part of that is because I've made the decision to put my fitness in front of my finances. A lot of you are running off to jobs that you hate and not able to work out, which makes yourself hate yourself even more because you're doing something just to make money, just to pay the bills. Right? And so like, I'm already preparing my kids to understand that some of them may go to college, right? But don't go to college just to get a job. Don't go to college just to get a job. I've never had a job. I've never had a boss, and it served me extremely well. At 45 years old, there's still a lot of financial things I want to accomplish, but I have the number one thing that's most important to me, which is freedom of choice. That's what makes me happy. So as you think about 2022 and your goals and objectives, what makes you happy? What would make you feel the most fulfilled, right? Don't judge other people. Again, there is no right and wrong. There's only right for you. There's only right for them. So, you've seen all this, especially with COVID, the last 2 years of people fighting about left and right, left and right, red and blue states, red and blue feelings. You pro-vax or not? My religious beliefs, can I get an exemption or not? Am I financially successful or not? Am I fat? Am I thin? Who cares? Who cares? Right? I told my wife, there's so much opinion floating around, of which this vaccine is, and the COVID in general is so new. Nobody really knows for sure. Nobody. My dad used to say that medicine is a practice. That's why they say doctors have a medical practice, because they're practicing medicine every day. Everybody's body is different. So no drug, no treatment is perfect for everybody. Same with your goals. No goal is the same for everybody. Somebody might say, hey, I want to buy 100 units this year. And for some people, that would be an enormous accomplishment. For other people, that would be a huge disappointment. So it's only about what's right for you. Okay. My goal this year is to buy another 950 units. This past year, my goal was to buy 950 units, and we bought almost 1,400 units. Some people would say, well, Josh, you bought 1,400 units in 2021. Why don't you raise your goal to 2,000 units? Why don't you raise your goal to buy 10,000 units? No. You see, 950 units represents something very specific to me. Our company is called 950 Management. And my goal is to buy another 950 units, because here's why. Write this down. 950 units, we make an average of about $1,350 to $1,400 per year per unit of net free distributable cash flow. So if you take 950 units times about $1,400, what does that equal? It equals about 1.2 million of net free distributable cash flow. It's $100,000 a month. I own the company. I'm the CEO, and I own 50% of the equity. Okay. So for me, if we buy another 950 units and make another 1.2 million of net free distributable cash flow, that means I've added $600,000 to my passive income, just like we did last year. Okay. So I have a very specific goal, a very specific reason, because that $600,000 added on top of everything else we've accomplished and all the other money that we make gives me the financial freedom to have freedom of choice, so that I could have deeper conversations with my wife. I could spend more time coaching my kids. I can be available to take care of my mom, not just financially, but to take her places, to be with her, right? To have freedom of choice, to be able to go to the gym and work out, because I'm deathly afraid of cognitive decline. So my financial goals line up with what's right for me. So ask yourself, have you been too judgmental in 2021? If you have, stop. Stop. Right? There is no right and wrong. There's only what's right for you and what's right for them. If it's right for them, God bless them. Let them do it. Okay. Have you been doing things? Number two, have you been doing things that make you happy? Like that truly give you joy? Like when you're done with it, you have more energy than when you started, right? When you're done with it, you have more energy. You're more excited. Do you do things that get you up off the couch? Stop watching TV, right? So these things that are important to you, to me, they're more fulfilling than just financial upside. Before, my goals in years past were very, I would say, immature or shallow. Just to say, hey, I want to flip this number of properties. I want to make this amount of money. It had no real reason behind it. Now I know the reason, and so should you.
Hey, Josh here, and do you want to win a free Accelerated Investor t-shirt? All you have to do is give Accelerated Investor, our podcast, Accelerated Investor, a rating and a review on iTunes, okay? Do that now. Then send us a screenshot on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. What we're gonna do then is every week we're gonna pick our favorite rating and review, and we're gonna send that person a free t-shirt and maybe, again, some other cool, fun stuff as well from Accelerated Investors. So, again, don't forget to take a screenshot. Leave a rating, review, take a screenshot, send it to us so we know exactly who you are. And then once a week, every week on the podcast, we will announce a new winner. Don't forget to take a screenshot and send it to us so we know exactly who you are. We'll announce a new winner every week.
You were just listening to the Accelerated Investor Podcast with Josh Cantwell. If you enjoyed this episode and learned something new, help us build the AI community by leaving a review and 5-star rating on our iTunes podcast channel. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. To see passive investing opportunities, visit freelandventures.com/passive. To start your journey toward the lifestyle you've always dreamed of with multifamily apartments, apply for one-on-one coaching with Josh at www.joshcantwellcoaching.com.